Hi everyone, thanks for popping in, hanging out with me, Nikki B. Let's get my store going. That's me. Oh my goodness.
.com and see how much you can save.
There, I will get this music.
There's an easier way to bank and get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less when you download Dave.
Take a pea-sized amount, apply it like a lotion. Pits, under boob, thigh folds, butt cracks, feet. This water-based cream, I'm telling you, it's invisible on the skin. It works like a dream. Why didn't someone think of this sooner?
Good evening and welcome to Politics Nation from Washington, D.C. tonight. Tonight's lead, collision course. We're 2 months into the Trump second term, and the administration seems to be on the path and fast track to a constitutional showdown with the courts. Much of the drama this week centered around the White House's attempt to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members. Trump and his allies have repeatedly attacked the judge handling the case, some calling for the judge's impeachment, prompting a rare rebuke from the Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts. Similar stories are playing out in other hot-button cases involving Trump's transgender ban in the military and his efforts to give DOJ access to America's most sensitive Social Security data. All across the docket, one clear question is emerging. Who will emerge the victor if it comes down to a battle of wills between judges appointed to uphold the law and a president who believes he is the law? We start tonight with Congressman Steve Cohen, Democrat of Tennessee, and a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, let's quickly review some of the cases we're watching right now. You have a district court judge hearing the case of Trump's ban on transgender service members, blasting the administration for making public statements that conflict with the arguments they're making in court. Another federal judge who compared DOJ's efforts to access Social Security data to a fishing expedition. And of course, the case of the alleged Venezuelan gang members, where Justice Department lawyers continue to be cagey about whether they are complying, Judge James, Borisberg's orders. Are you concerned we're heading for a moment where this administration simply refuses to comply with court rulings?
I definitely am. I think we're in a very serious situation in our country's history as far as having a democracy and having a three equal branches of government. The way that was set up by Madison to have the different branches check and balance the other. This group that's in the White House now, Mr. Vogt and the others, have always felt that there should be a unitary executive, that he's the power, or she, but I don't think they'd ever consider a she, that he's the power that has all control, and that basically he can do what he wants with the budget. He can do what he wants with any agency. And I think that Trump has never been one to be stopped in the past, probably why he went to military school. And he's going to keep going as far as he can go. And I don't think he'll listen to the court. I thought it was shocking after his speech to the State of the Union. He stopped at Chief Justice Roberts, and he said, "Thank you, thank you. I won't forget it. Thank you." That's most inappropriate for a president to thank a Supreme Court justice and say, "I won't forget it," like it's a deal and they're in cahoots.
Yeah, we all heard that on mic. But staying with the case of the Venezuelan deportations, Trump has railed on social media for Judge Boasberg to be impeached. In a rare rebuke, the Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts said this week that he couldn't get behind that. But some hard-right House Republicans are already on board. And though it's reported that House GOP leaders aren't excited by the idea privately, they're expressing support in public, presumably to appease Trump. How far does this go with Republicans talking judicial impeachment over decisions that they don't like?
Well, Justice Roberts was right to stand up and rebuke him. He was right that our system has appeals of judicial rulings that you don't agree with and not impeachments. And this is far from any case. We've had 15 judges impeached in the history of the country, and most of them have been for bribes and illegal acts, not decisions that were just disliked by the administration or by any particular party. So Justice Roberts was right to say that. I'm concerned about where he'll go, though, because the whole idea of the Congress people who have brought impeachment charges and to support impeachment have been rewarded by Musk with contributions, I think $6,600 each, which just encourages others. But I think Jim Jordan, he's going to decide. He may have an inquiry in the Judiciary Committee and have a hearing. The Republicans will probably vote on party lines. They always do. It would go to the full House, and I don't think it would get the votes in the full House. I think there'd be more than 2 Republicans who would vote no. So that may restrain him because they'd be embarrassed on the floor if they couldn't pass it on the floor.
Now, Congressman, on Tuesday, you held a town hall in Memphis, Tennessee. Nearly 800 people turned out to talk about Social Security and the Doge cuts. Last night in Denver, Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez drew a capacity crowd for their rally. Senator Sanders called it the largest event he ever held, with 30,000 in attendance. Another rally they held in Tucson, Arizona this afternoon also drew big crowds. Recent Republican town halls have been so raucous, the chair of the House Republican Campaign Committee told members to stop holding them in person. Are we seeing signs of a political backlash against this administration?
Well, they're out there, certainly among the Democrats. Republicans, though, also are the same way. I had some Republicans at my town hall, and they expressed that this is not what they signed up for, not what they voted for. They want to get their Social Security, and that was a major issue. They're concerned about getting their Social Security. We had with us a special guest, Max Rickman, who is the head of the Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare in this nation. And he pointed out that what they're trying to do is destroy the Social Security network by firing employees, closing offices, and requiring Social Security beneficiaries to go to offices to do their work and not do it on the telephone. This will overflow the Social Security offices That means services will not be rendered. It'll be backlogs that you can't imagine, and it'll get the people upset with Social Security, and it'll present them with the opportunity to privatize, which is the last thing we should do. I'm 100% for Social Security. We've paid into it. You know, there was a president named Franklin Roosevelt. He cared about the people. He started Social Security. He started these programs that helped people when they were in bad times. He didn't cut down programs that gave people services, helped them when they were sick, helped them when they were had problems in buying clothing and food. A president who followed Matthew in the Bible. You know, if you're naked, we give you clothes. If you're hungry, we feed you. If you're sick, we heal you. That's not what this president and this Speaker of the House, who claims the Bible controls it, even understands.
Before you go, I want to get your reaction to the president revoking security clearances for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, and several other of his political enemies, saying in a memo last night that it was no longer in the nation's interest for these people to have access to classified information. Earlier this week, Trump pulled Secret Service protection for the Biden's adult children. Is there anything more to this than just petty political revenge?
It's retribution. I am your retribution. He's a very vindictive person. He said that one of the happiest moments I think he ever had in his life was when he fired James Comey and the revenge that gave him. He's a man who's small. He likes retribution. He likes revenge, and that's what this is about. You know, the thing with Columbia is it's about that too. You know, Columbia University. We're in the hands of a man who is morally, ethically, and intellectually not capable of being in that office. Rev, I want to tell you, I like your suit today and your ties. You got a University of Tennessee color tie and a Memphis State University or University of Memphis suit. The last time I saw you, I think, was at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church, where we had our town hall. Good to see you today.
I do recall that, and I'm very happy to have you on tonight. And of course, Mississippi Boulevard is a great church. Thank you, Congressman. And Reverend Turner is a great pastor. Thank you for being with us, Congressman Steve Cohen. This week, President Trump took steps toward dismantling the Department of Education. The president signed his order to stop providing federal support to schools Thursday while flanked by children at school desks. The next day, he announced the Small Business Administration would be taking over the DOE's student loan portfolio. So joining me now is Becky Pringle, president of the National Education Association, one of the country's largest teachers unions. Thanks for joining us, Madam President. Let's start with conservatives have been trying to shut down the education department pretty much since it was cheated in many ways. So it was created in 1979 to stop the resources that were being cheated from them. What's your reaction watching President Trump actually attempting to try to dismantle it?
It's good to be with you again, Rev. The operative word you just used is attempting to dismantle it, because we know that takes an act of Congress. But I want to be clear that this Trump-Musk administration, joined now by the czar of the WWE, are and have been gutting the funding to our public schools since day one. So this newest executive order that was signed, they were already about the business of stealing resources and rights from our students. And I will tell you, Rev, that you have seen thousands of educators and members all over this country standing up and saying, no, you will not take our students' resources. You will not destroy our public schools. You will not walk away from the commitment of the federal government to actually close those gaps of inequity, as we, of course, saw the establishment of the Department of Education for just that reason.
Now, many Americans don't totally understand what the Department of Education does. What would be the most immediate effects of a near total shutdown on parents and students? What would be the immediate effects they would feel?
The federal government has a role to play, just as every level of government has a role to play in the education of all students. With over 400,000 education jobs, that means that the impact will be our rural communities, our urban communities, and our suburban communities when we don't have enough teachers to teach our children, when we don't have the programs and resources to help those of our most vulnerable students, our students with disabilities, our students who come from low-income families. We know that the federal role has been and must continue to be standing in those gaps. You know, Rev, I taught middle school science for over 30 years, and I know that educators all over this country, not just teachers, our support staff too, stand in the gaps for our students all the time. And we cannot have the federal government walking away from its role and its responsibility to ensure that every student has what they need and what they deserve.
Policy is better left to the state and all of the states individually. But that hasn't always worked out well for people of color. Ensuring equal access to education for all was a major pillar of the civil rights movement. Does the gutting of the Department of Education put that at risk? We're back to states' rights on education?
So I want to be clear, Rev. Every level of government, including the state, has a role to play in funding our public schools. The role that the federal government through the Department of Education has historically played is the one to actually get at those inequities. And I will tell you, and you know this already, that those inequities exist in every single social system in this country. And we know that it's based on race, it's based on income, it's based on ability, it's based on where students live. That is the role of the federal government, and they cannot walk away from that, and we will not let them.
You're the president of the National Education Association. How does your organization plan to fight back to the swift and drastic changes made to education, and how can other similar groups follow suit?
We have 3 million members, Rev. We have members in every single congressional district. And so we are fighting not only against, but for what our students need. We are fighting through lawsuits. We filed a lawsuit 2 weeks ago in New Hampshire to push back against the threats that were made to our schools and colleges and universities that were being inclusive and celebrating the diversity of our communities, making sure that our students had the opportunity to see themselves and to see others in their curriculum. We are fighting back by mobilizing and organizing. We had thousands of walk-ins just on this past Wednesday, and we are planning more of those because we know that our parents are demanding that our federal government do its job and that our students are depending on all of us to use our teacher voices to demand what they need and what they deserve. So we're doing all of that. And I invite everyone to join us. Please text ACTION to 48744. ACTION to 48744 to join us so that we can not only hold the members of Congress responsible and accountable for giving our students what they need, but that we can make sure that every attempt to voucherize and privatize our public school is met with resistance, because we know our public schools are the foundation of this or any democracy.
All right, thank you for being with us, Becky Pringle. I'll see you at the National Action Network Convention in just about 2 weeks, where you're one of the speakers, and NEA has always been supportive of NAN. Coming up, President Trump this week unveiled a fighter plane named for himself, but his Pentagon had to be shamed into restoring recognition of pioneering black veterans like Jackie Robinson. More on that with my political panel ahead.
Got one more, Antoine.
With US every step of the way. Cool.
Right on time.
Stay in the know from your dock to their door.
Zyrtec allergy relief works fast and lasts a full 24 hours, so Dave can be the
Deliverer of dance.
okay, Dave. Let's be more than our allergies. Z's the day with Zyrtec.
Some things are just better at home, like picking out new floors. For a limited time, get up to 40% off your entire project during our spring sales event. Saving on new floors is just better at home. Call or visit EmpireToday.com for your free in-home consultation.
Hey, honey. Looks like my to-do list grew. Paint the bathroom, give Baxter a bath, get life insurance. Have a few minutes. I can do that now.
Oh, that fast.
Remember that Colonial Penn ad? I called and I got information. They sent the simple form I need to apply. All I do is fill it out and send it back.
Well, that sounds too easy.
Give a little information, check a few boxes, sign my name. Done.
They don't ask about your health?
No health questions.
Physical exam?
Don't need one. It's Colonial Penn Guaranteed Acceptance Whole Life Insurance.
If you're between the ages of 50 and 85, your acceptance is guaranteed in most states, even if you're not in the best health. Options start at $9.95 a month, 35 cents a day. Once insured, your rate will never increase. A lifetime rate lock guarantees it. Keep in mind, this is lifetime protection. As long as you pay your premiums, it's yours to keep. Call for more information and the simple form you need to apply today. There's no obligation, and you'll
That's it for me today, guys. I will be back.